Welcome to the Otomami Party Podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Ian.
I'm Saya.
We both grew up in different countries. Where are you from, Saya?
I'm from Japan. Where are you from, Ian?
I'm from the US. In this podcast, we'll discuss fun little interesting things about vastly different cultures, daily lives living in different cities, and other fun, interesting topics.
During our time together, we invite you to grab some otsumami or finger food of your own and join us for a fun, cozy time. Enjoy!
Notice anything different?
Nobody can see you. Nobody can see you.
I've been doing push-ups. Do I look strong?
Oh, you sound strong, maybe?
I'm so strong man.
Okay.
Last time I did push-ups was 2 days ago.
Oh my god.
And I did 50 push-ups. I'm so strong.
Like 50 push-ups in total, right?
5 sets of 10.
Yeah.
That's typical.
And then you didn't do last 2 days.
Yeah, people take break from working out some days. Usually, when people work out, it's like 3 days a week or something. It's not like everyday thing. But I should make it an everyday thing, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gym kind of person, so I don't know, but...
Apparently neither am I. So I have a funny story today.
Okay.
2 things. The first thing is that, do you remember the word that I taught you? It meant like somebody talking gibberish. It was called gobbledygook.
Yeah.
I heard somebody use it.
Oh my goodness, really? I would never.
So somebody, I don't remember what they were talking about, but they're like, yeah, they're just talking gobbledygook.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, I know that word now.
That's cool.
That was I think the first time I've noticed somebody use it.
Yeah, that's really cool actually, because like it's actually hasn't happened yet for me.
Aww.
But like usually, like when as a language learner, I think when you learn some words, you start noticing somebody using it, or like hearing it from you, or one of the songs or on the radio. I think it's just because, I don't know, like your sensors are like kind of noticing it, even though probably the people like using those words occasionally, not knowing like you just learned about it, right? But like it feels like you just learned it and then it's happened to like come to your mind, like, you know what I mean?
So that is called the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon.
Butter?
Baader Meinhof phenomenon. Or it's also called the frequency illusion. Basically, your brain becomes more attuned to noticing something new you have recently learned, making it feel like it's suddenly everywhere.
That's exactly what I was talking about.
However, I think that that's true most of the time, but there are certainly some times where like I learned something that literally just should not be part of my life, like a word that means something just so out of the blue, and then I hear it all the time and I'm thinking like there is no way that it's this common in my life.
Are you talking about Google and Facebook that hearing you?
No, I'm talking about humans hearing me apparently, and just use it all the time.
That's kind of crazy.
I know it's a little weird, but yeah, I guess it's the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon.
Baader-Meinhof phenomenon.
Yeah. So if you want to look it up, all of our listeners at home, it's spelled Baader -Meinhof phenomenon. So that is the first thing that happened to me today, actually. But this past week, you will find this so funny. So I use the Band app. It's an app where, it's like Slack or Teams, where people get together. It's geared towards like musicians, like orchestra and stuff. That's why it's called Band. But it's like, or at least my school uses it for all of the faculty to communicate with the families, and so we create what are called bands, and they're basically different pages that we can access that we can invite family members to, so that it could be like one big communication source. Well, the other day, one of my parents in my class posts a picture of this Lego that has like a lightsaber or something.
Okay.
And she titles it, Mr. Ian, do you have a secret life? Apparently, this looks like me.
Yeah, kinda.
And my student, this is the student who I was telling you is like always like almost like trouble. Like he's always like, he comes in, he goes, where do I stand? It's like, well, you stand exactly where you always stand. Why are you asking me? Or like, you know, in the middle of class, are we done yet? But for some reason, he's gotten really silly recently.
Oh.
And he comes up to me and he gives me the smug face. He pats me on the shoulder and goes, it's okay, man. I know about your secret life. How is it? How's your secret life? Do you have a manager? And he's like, it's okay. It's okay. And he keeps on patting me on the shoulder and he goes, it's okay, man. I understand. I'm like, all right, thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But apparently I'm a Lego character with the secret life.
I thought like they got you in Otsumami Party because we talked about Lego before.
No. It has nothing to do with Otsumami Party.
Okay.
But something very funny that just happened this week.
Yeah.
I was laughing so hard afterwards because of the way he was like patting me on the shoulder. He was like, it's okay. It's okay, man. And he was like talking to me so like familiarly.
Yeah.
So that's what happened to me in my week. Did you have anything fun, or has it been just kind of an okay week, then nothing special?
Yeah, it's been an okay week. Well, we got the snow on Wednesday.
Tell me about the snow.
Was it on Wednesday? Yeah, I think it's Wednesday because I had a meeting outside and then it started snowing and then the next day. So it's kept like really becoming cold and like snowy a bit, like windy. And then like we were talking like, well, like we heard like it's gonna snow next day. So it was Thursday actually. So we wake up to find snow on... I mean, like, I live in downtown, so it's like a few inches, or like, just a little, like, few inches. But my colleagues who lives close to the mountains, they have like way more snow.
Oh, wow.
It's a lot.
I bet. That is a very tall mountain that has snow almost year-round almost, right?
In summer now, but yeah, we started,
but like the
seeing
other
snow.
three. Yeah.
True. Yeah, it's been beautiful. We have a Teams chat at work, and then everybody started like posting the snowmen their kids made, and like everyone just like showing off their gardens with snow covered. So yeah, that was very fun.
That's awesome. What did you make?
I made a little snowman and snow squirrels.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just on top of my windshield.
That's cute.
Yeah, so I stayed at home on that day because my managers are going to stay at home too. So like, I was like, I don't need to go in because, there's no bosses waiting for me to come in and talk in person. And we can just talk on Teams online. So like, it's like, yeah, like I live in downtown and it's barely close to the office, but nobody knows what happens to me. So
we should post these pictures on our Instagram page.
Oh yeah, we should.
Yeah, so check out the Instagram page.
So it's otsumami_party_podcast.
Follow us, check us out, and then you could see all of the cool photos, and you'll see my secret life as a Lego man. And then you'll see Saya's secret life as a snow sculptor, not sculpture. You're not a sculpture.
I'm not. Well, my secret life is a sculpture.
Right. Anyway, I think we should go on to the word of the day and stick around because we have a couple of announcements afterwards.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I think it's my turn to go first this time.
Okay.
And I have a word called gentacular.
Gentacular.
Yeah, Gentacular.
Okay.
Let me use it in a sentence.
Please.
The tea I made for Janice first thing in the morning was gentacular.
Huh. So does it mean a lot of caffeine in it?
Hey, just because I drink a lot of caffeine doesn't mean everything I touch has caffeine in it.
Okay. Okay. Well, I thought it's because it's morning you mentioned.
No, it does have something to do with morning. Let's play a little bit of a game. I'm going to use another sentence.
Okay.
And then you're going to have to try to guess
Okay.
what it means. The hint is it does have something to do with morning.
Okay.
I made a gentacular omelet this morning. Also, toast is pretty gentacular.
What? Like in the morning?
Yeah.
So like quick? Like
I guess it could be in the afternoon as well. No, it doesn't mean quick. I'll give you another hint.
Yeah.
Sometimes you order a gentacular cup of orange juice.
Oh, like 100%?
Nope.
Fresh?
Nope, not fresh. I guess technically it could be fresh, but it doesn't mean fresh.
I guess I gave up.
It means relating to breakfast.
Okay.
So anything relating to breakfast is gentacular.
So what does that mean, though?
It just means it's relating to breakfast.
So, like, if you make a coffee, it means, like, breakfast coffee? Like, does that mean, like, the coffee comes with breakfast when you order it?
Yeah. Or you are drinking breakfast as part of your breakfast. No, sorry.
What?
Let me say that again. Sorry. You are drinking coffee as part of your breakfast.
Okay. And then what the gentacular omelette?
An omelet for breakfast.
Why don't you say breakfast?
Because
it's just
sometimes you want to sound sophisticated and cool, man.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay.
I found this on a list of 15 useless and unusual English words. I thought that it would be fun.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, gentacular. Okay.
So, sometimes my omelet is gentacular and sometimes it's not.
True.
Sometimes I have a dinner omelet and it's quite delectable.
So the gentacular, did you say starting with G or J?
Jen. Gentacular. Yeah.
Okay, so that gentacular is a noun. No, I mean like an adjective.
Adjective, yes.
Okay.
But you can't say gentacular dinner. That's an oxymoron.
Right. That doesn't make sense. Okay. So Albuquerque is famous for gentacular burrito.
Exactly. Precisely.
Okay.
But I love that word and I'm going to start using it.
I think so, and that's why I hear it all the time now.
It's not the Bader-Meinhof
it's not.
phenomenon. It's
just Ian phenomenon.
Obsession phenomenon.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, sorry.
It's like the komorebi is the word. Ian obsession phenomenon word.
I use komorebi all the time.
Yeah.
What's your word?
Okay.
It's got to be as good as gentacular.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to komorebi.
Okay.
So the word is kogarashi.
Kogarashi.
Yeah, kogarashi.
Ooh, first try. Ooh. Usually I mess it up the first try.
That's true.
But this time, kogarashi. Got it.
Right. Yeah, kogarashi. So the meaning is that the cold wind that indicates that the winter is coming.
Like a cold front.
Probably.
So kogarashi just means cold front.
I think so. Yeah, the wind. Yeah. So like around this time of the year, like usually in November, like it arrives and like this like cold freezing wind and like it just like get really cold and like you just know it's a winter time, you know, winter has come. So
I found another word. Kanreisensen.
Kanreisensen.
Yeah.
So kanreisensen is more like a word for like a weather forecast.
Okay.
Or like field of study. Yeah, meteorology, like those kind of words. Meteorology words. I
see.
I think. So that's how we learn, like the word we learn in science classes. So
the samui kogarashi makes things tsumetai.
True.
Haha, I'm learning.
Yeah, but the kogarashi is obviously samui, which means cold. So we don't necessarily say it, but like when the kogarashi blows, everyone says samui, which means like, oh, really cold. Yeah. So kogarashi is just like talking about the wind. Kanreisensen is more like at the front, like wind front, I think.
I see. Okay.
You know, like we have the lines when you're looking at watching a weather forecast.
Yeah.
You see the lines with like blue lines with like a triangles in it. That show that I think that's the kanreizensen when it comes, and that brings the cold wind, including kogarashi, obviously, and the snow sometimes.
I think I had kogarashi last night. I left my windows open, and like the wind was so strong, and it was so cold this morning afterwards, and like it's definitely cold front, but I think this is the first time we had that. And I left this is kind of creepy, but I left my windows open, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes the wind blows like doors open and everything. So I can't sleep without my doors closed in my room.
Okay.
But I woke up at 3 a.m. and one of my doors was wide open. And I like freaked out a little bit, so I got up and I closed it. But I knew it was because my window was open and it was blowing, but it was still really scary for sleepy Ian.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's so scary to me. So turning that word into a cool guy word, like komorebi. Can I say my heart is like kogarashi?
Does that mean you're really cold-hearted?
Yeah. That means I'm cool and like standoffish and be like not caring. It's like, oh wow, he's so cool. He's like kogarashi.
Maybe?
Whoa.
I don't know. I mean, like, let's see how we use.
Kogarashi. Boku mo namae wa kogarashi.
Ian desu.
Komorebi desu.
I feel like it's more like a word that used in like literature or like more like formal.
I see. Okay.
And like we hear that in like weather forecast in the news. The kogarashi is coming this week. Or so one of our culture, when you write a formal letter in Japanese, you start with like the greeting in the greeting sentences talking about the seasons. So we have like a few sentences even before you start your conversation in the letters.
I see.
So like we could say the kogarashi has come and like we are feeling really cold, but I hope you're doing well as well. That kind of thing is like starting off.
I see.
In the letter. Yeah. So like
I saw a TikTok about that.
Oh really?
About how it's like in English all you say is like I hope all is well, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But in Japanese you're like I hope you are as the wind travels, like something like weirdly like
so like
indirect.
We make a sentence in English to like at least 3 sentences in Japanese. Like
just to try to be polite.
Yeah, and a formal in a way. Same thing happens in email too.
Yeah. In this TikTok, the girl was writing an email to her professors. It was like, please don't become sick from the cold wind of the winter. In
English, you can just, please take care yourself.
Yeah, right.
Like 4 words, right?
Stay healthy.
No, 5. Yeah. But like, we just have to say
so
like...
direct. Or so like...
Indirect,
yeah.
Like just going like around the road, like winding road,
Yeah, right.
So yeah, but that's our culture.
It's like that, there's another TikTok about like somebody who goes to a coffee shop or a restaurant and he and his friend are sitting there and the waitress comes up and says, would you like a cup of coffee? And the friend goes, yes, of course. And his friend hits him on the shoulders like, man, what are you doing? She asked you for a cup of coffee. That implies that she's going out of her way to get you a cup of coffee to satisfy your needs, in which case you should deny and leave. And he goes, okay, I got it. And so next time the waitress comes up, would you like a cup of coffee or something else? And the guy goes, no. And his friend hits him, man, what are you doing? She said something else, which implies she's interested in your opinion and your needs on top of, you staying here. It's like, gosh, I cannot deal with that.
Yeah, well, you gotta read the room,
Yeah, right. Okay, I guess reading the body language and reading the room is fine. But if somebody's like so like stone cold, it's so hard to tell just based on language.
Welcome to Japanese world.
Well, thank you for your word. I hope you enjoy my word. And I'm
yeah.
going to use your word, and I hope you use mine.
Definitely.
I want to take this opportunity to make a couple of announcements. First of all, we hope you are enjoying this week's episode. We really enjoy talking to each other about things, and we really do enjoy making this podcast. If you do like this podcast, publicity is spread mainly by word of mouth, so please tell your friends about us. If you want, you can contact us. There's a new way of contacting. I made a Google form. I've included the link down in the description of this podcast. Or you can email us at otsumamiparty@gmail.com. That is otsumamiparty@gmail.com. We also set up a donation page at buymeacoffee.com/otsumamipaa. That is buymeacoffee.com/otsumamipaa. And please note that any and every bit of donations we get goes towards improving your listening experience. Please be sure to follow us on your listening platform of choice, and don't forget to rate us. That is a very important thing. We need feedback so that we can make sure that this podcast is getting good reception. So please let us know. Email us, fill out the Google form, or you can just simply rate us. I think Spotify also has the ability to leave comments on your favorite episode. So please do that too. I think that's it. Anyway, let's get back to the episode. So it's your turn to tell me something. What you got?
Well, so you have to guess.
Okay.
So imagine it's the early 2000s. The world is buzzing with the new tech. Cell phones are becoming smaller, the internet is growing faster, and everything seems to be like evolving in a digital friendly.
Okay.
But there's something about the radio that's been clinging on for decades. We've all heard the familiar voice on the other end of the radio shows, or like offering news, music, or stories. Maybe like even that guilty pleasure talk shows that we listen to during the commute.
Okay, yeah.
But there's a new kid on the block, and it's not a traditional radio show. In fact, it's something entirely different. A way to broadcast audio content that you can listen to whenever you want. No need to tune in at a set of time or rely on the radio frequency. You could take it with you in your pocket on the go.
Okay.
If you're ever going on a long drive, taking a walk, or being stuck in traffic, you know the magic of this digital age that allows you to choose what to listen to. But back in the day, that wasn't the case. It all started when someone had the idea to marry two things: the power of on-demand media and the ever-growing convenience of personal devices like the iPod. Yes, the iPod. Do you remember those?
Oh, yeah. So I didn't have a smartphone until I was a sophomore in college.
Okay.
That was year 2012.
Okay. Yeah.
So I didn't have an iPhone until then. Before then, I had a flip phone. I had the Sony Ericsson, which was top, MP3 phone player. Everyone wanted it for their MP3 files.
Yeah.
But I had an iPod Touch eventually.
Ooh.
And I jailbroke it. Do you remember jailbreaking your iPod?
No, what's jailbroken?
So jailbreaking is like you bypass the security of the phone and then you can get any app for free.
What?
I know.
Okay, I think I had an iPod, but I didn't have a smartphone until I get to the college, which is 2015.
Yeah.
So maybe I didn't do those things.
Oh, maybe. Well, I had an iPod Touch in college.
Okay.
I mean, I had an iPod Nano in high school, but I got an iPod Touch in college and I jailbroke it and I turned it basically into my phone. There was an app that you download that would give your iPod Touch a phone number, and you can text and call from that number using Wi-Fi. Mm-hmm. And so I liked to pretend I had an iPhone.
Oh, wow.
It was really cool. But anyway, sorry for interrupting. It just brought back some memory.
No. So it was in 2001 that the world met the iPod, the very first one, which not only revolutionized how we listen to music, but as we will see, became the stepping stone for something much bigger. But for now, let's take a look at what people were doing back then. People had already been experimenting with video blogs and internet radio shows. But in 2003, software engineer Dave Weiner developed an audio RSS feed for former the New York Times reporter and the public radio host Christopher Radin, who used this this new RSS feed to offer audio contents of notable interviews on his blog.
So let me guess. This is the start of podcasting.
It is. Yeah.
You stole my idea. I was going to do that one day.
Oh, well, I did it first.
I guess.
So tapes of Layden's interview made their way through a blog account in 2003. In 2004, Weiner partnered up with former MTV video jockey Adam Curry, created iPod, a program that allowed people to download internet radio broadcasts and other audio contents to their iPods. These broadcasts were soon called podcast and named after the iPod MP3 player that played them. So the word is coming from the iPod and broadcast. By the end of 2004, the very first podcast hosting platform, Libsyn, short for Liberated Syndication, Libsyn, the first podcast hosting platform, came to life. And then in 2005, Steve Jobs built a podcast subscription into iTunes, now known as Apple Podcasts. So at the point, podcast stopped being a niche hobby for like tech enthusiasts and started their path towards the mainstream. So podcast is made Word of the Year by New Oxford American Dictionary in 2005.
Wow. So podcasting is pretty recent, actually.
It is.
It makes sense now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
But, podcast is such an everyday word for us now.
Well, yeah.
It's hard to believe that it's, not been around forever.
True. Yeah. So the word podcast is, combination of iPod and the broadcast. So now, we know, it's after iPod, but yeah, it's definitely everyday thing for us, especially us and our listeners.
Yeah.
So there's some fun fact. Did you know the very first podcast ever recorded was in 2000? Well before it has a name, and it was created by none other than the man Adam Curry, and it was called Daily Source Code. It was a show about the technology and media, and which makes sense considering, he was one of the pioneers of the movement.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we listen to it still today?
I believe so. I'm not sure.
What's it called?
Daily Source Code.
We can listen to it on archive.org.
Ooh.
So I listened to a little bit of it.
Okay.
And it doesn't sound like something from 2004. It sounds like somebody today could have made it. The voice is so clear. There's a musical introduction.
Oh. Well, he was definitely a tech guy, so,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, they're pro.
Yeah, even in the second episode is, just a normal, podcast interview. I was expecting, no musical introduction and,
Yeah.
I was expecting, it to start with, hello, is this thing on?
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the first broadcast of... but no, he's musical introduction. He's hey, welcome to the podcast, everybody.
I mean,
it's so wild.
I think, they just considered it as a radio.
We should post the link to this in the description of this episode.
Oh, yeah, totally. So that everyone can check it out. Everyone should check it out.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. I mean, it's fascinating.
Yeah, so check down below to open up the link to view it.
And another link that you might want to include is the longest running podcast as of today. It has been
Hold on, let me guess.
Okay.
It's not My Brother and Me, is it?
No, it's not.
Oh. Because they have almost 800 episodes.
Yeah, but this thing has been going for over 20 years.
20 years?
Yeah.
So Bim Bam has been going since, I think, 2010. So
So
this is even older. Wow.
Oh, yeah. So this is the longest running podcast. And it's called This Week in Tech. TWIT in parentheses.
Ah, okay.
So, and then it's been an essential part of the tech world with a new episode every week.
Every week
Well,
for 20 years.
Over 20 years, yeah. It says.
That's wild.
It is, yeah. We should we should try listen to it too.
Let's see if they have their first episode in Apple Podcast. Oh, the most recent one is 6 days ago.
Yeah, because it's still going.
That's wild. Oh no.
What?
Apple Podcast only has the subscriber only.
So we may not be able to put the link for this one, but you guys can just check it out. It's called This Week in Tech.
I found it on Apple Podcasts, but it's subscriber only. So if anybody finds This Week in Tech for free on a platform, email us. Let us know.
Yeah, but that's really cool. But we can also tell maybe everything is all about tech back in those days.
Oh, sure. I mean,
for the podcast.
It makes so much sense, especially with the iPhone and with, the fight between Samsung and Apple at the time. It was a huge fight. And also, that was where the breakthrough for video games took. That was the time of the biggest breakthrough in video games.
Interesting.
We had the PlayStation 2, even the jump between PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 was crazy. And then computers were insane. There was a huge jump there because in the 90s, the average RAM was less than a gig. Whereas in the early 2000s to 2010 or whatever, it started becoming, a few gigs.
Yeah.
And then in 2013 is when I bought this computer. I mean, I've replaced pretty much everything in it.
Yeah.
But in 2013, I think this had 8 gigs of RAM, with an octa-core processor. The difference between that and 2000 is even huge. So I get why everything was tech. Everything was going crazy. And now, we're just breaking through tech heights that we've never even thought of.
That's true.
Now everybody and their dog has a podcast.
Well, there's another and last fun fact for you. To the listeners, podcast listeners are more likely to engage with the content than the people consuming traditional media. So studies have shown that listeners are more likely to take action after hearing a podcast, whether it's buying a product, attending an event, or even changing their habits.
Let us know if we changed your habits.
Yeah.
By eating snacks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's very influential. Yeah. Or you just make a cocktail at your home, or grab a beer, or a glass of wine.
Yeah. That would be really cool.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. That was... I didn't know any of that. I knew that podcast came from radio, but I didn't understand how that worked. And I knew that the pod part of podcasting was probably related to iPod, probably Apple, but I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah.
But it's wild how everything comes together. And I did not know that the first podcast was in 2004 and the longest running has been going since 2005.
I know, it's so crazy.
That's wild. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
And also it's interesting the Apple made it possible.
How important Apple is to modern listening
culture,
consumer culture. Yeah.
Do you know it's totally different kind of topic, but iPS cells, more it's a biology thing that comes with you can generate your own cells. That guy was Japanese, and he took a Nobel Prize for it. So the iPS cells are the cells that can differentiate into any cell type in the body, and that are derived from adult cells that has been reprogrammed to an embryonic state.
Like an embryo.
Yeah. So that is called iPS cells, induced pluripotent stem cell. I think.
Ah, I see.
Do you really?
I mean, I see as much as a non-biological or non-biology
Yeah,
person.
okay. Okay, cool. Yeah. I just couldn't pronounce it well. We just call it iPS cells.
Oh, I see.
But that is developed by the Professor Yamanaka, Shinya Yamanaka, I believe. So that guy took a Nobel Prize. I don't know how long ago, but, from Kyoto University. I don't know. It's almost like 5 to 10 years now, maybe. But anyways, what I wanted to say is like he named it. So iPS cells is written like small letter I and large PS, and then he took it from iPod or like iPhone.
Did he really?
Because it was viral. Yeah, he did. He talked about it many times at his interviews when he got the Nobel Prize. And then everyone was asking like, why is the I only like the small letter? And then he was like, well, like I want it to be like a viral or like want it to be like, it's kind of like
cutting edge.
Yeah. The feeling of the cutting edge, and also like hoping the cell like it would succeed like iPod or iPhones at the time. So like he just like wasted the luck for that.
Yeah.
So he named it small I.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. So it's like very influential. Like Apple is influential.
Thank you so much for that topic.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for telling me everything about it. I am happy to be putting in our entry in the history of podcasting, however small it may be. But that's very interesting.
Yeah, I just thought like we should know what the podcast is, or like how it started since we started.
Right, exactly. Well, if you all found that interesting, please contact us, let us know. Also, don't forget that if you want to support the show, we have our links down in the description of the podcast. In the meantime, we'll see you all in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Hey guys, thank you for listening to our podcast. We get our publicity mainly from word of mouth, so make sure to tell your friends about us. If you have something you would like us to talk about, or just want to say hi, you can send an email to otsumamiparty@gmail.com. That is otsumamiparty@gmail.com. And please sign the email with the unique username.
Please let us know what you think of the podcast and where you are tuning in from as well, and we may mention it in our next episode. Tune in next week.
See ya.